They believe the loudest talking man is the winner. They believe the first to move flare hardest and shout the loudest has the field. They are / mistaken. In the real game of power, the loudest is not usually the strongest. He's usually the most desperate. Observe closely in any meeting, argument, or negotiation. The quietest man holds the unseen high ground. This is Machiavelli's cold law of mental power. The calm mind controls the tempest. Quiet is not timidity, it is quiet power. The majority of men lose it in an instant. A glint of rage, a spasm of irritation, a thoughtless word, and they've lost their edge for an instant of freedom. They allow others to set their tempo, pull their strings, establish their beat. Not you. You will keep your own clock. You will make silence your ally and stillness your strength. Each pause will have the power to sharpen the impact of your next word. Each carefully taken breath will mark you as being accountable to no one's timeline except your own. When people call for fire, you will return stone. When they request reaction, you will provide stillness, so unflappable it unnerves them. This is not passivity. This is dominance in its most unadulterated form. The man who keeps his cool is the man nobody can move. Comment below, my silence is my weapon. This is where your change starts. Number 1. Breaking emotional reflexes. Most people live as hostages to their own impulses. They think that emotions are something to be expressed, when in reality, emotions are signals to be interpreted, not commands to be followed. The instant stress increases. They relinquish control, snapping back, talking without thinking, making maneuvers they'll regret. That isn't strategy, that's giving in. When things happen fast, you will slow them down. When it gets loud, yours will turn to a level so constrained that other people have to adapt to you. If they attempt to hurry you, you will remain like time itself has to wait. This is how you break the chain of emotional reflexes, the conditioned responses that make men so predictable. Rather than react, you will watch. You will read all gesture, all pause, all inflection of tone. You will anticipate the intent of the words before the words are even completed. This stillness doesn't save you alone, it makes you superior. It permits you to respond from a position of clarity rather than chaos. And the gentleman who responds from clarity always determines the result. Your mind is no longer an open field for anyone to trample upon. It is a fortress that is besieged by patience and honed by vigilance. Leave a comment below. I control my tempo. Number 2. The mask of composure. Composure is not a mere internal condition. It's a face you decide to present to a mask. The man who remains calm even when the pressure is on exudes an authority that others intuitively respect. When people are in doubt, they find the face most assured, and they will turn to you. This mask is not lying in the frontal sense. It is discipline in action. Your calm expression, your measured tone, your mastered posture. They send a message without you ever saying a word. I am unbroken. Even if the earth moves under your feet, the mask remains, not to conceal fear, but to refuse to give in to it. The truth is the mask is not a deception. It is a school. The more you wear it, the more your mind starts to fit it. Your body communicates to your mind. We are stable, and the mind complies. With time, the mask and the truth become indistinguishable. That is when you become untouchable, because there is nothing left for people to perceive. Crack. Take this mask into every exchange. Make it the first thing they see, and the last thing they remember. Comment below, my calm commands the room. Number 3. Making stillness powerful. Stillness is greater than self-control. It's a weapon worked out in advance. In a world that rushes too much, a world obsessed with instant response and perpetual motion, the man who will not be hurried becomes a center of gravity. Others spin around him. They don't know why, but they sense it. A gentle tug toward his center. His is not a solution that's loud, but it prevails. This isn't an accident. It's a conscious decision, repeated so many times it becomes second nature. When you keep your calm under stress, you send a signal primal. I am not threatened. The human brain interprets calm as power. It presumes that if you can hold back the push of pressure, you have to have some information nobody else does. In the ancient courts of politics and the contemporary boardrooms as well, this quality gets noticed without your even asking for it. People begin to watch you differently. They listen when you speak, not because you demanded it, but because you earned it through restraint. There's a simple truth most overlook. Constant movement bleeds significance. The more you speak, the easier your words are ignored. The more you move, the easier your actions are forgotten. But when you are choosy, when you pick and choose your moments, like a sniper picks his target, every step is heavy. You might make one sentence at a meeting and have it reverberate in their minds for days, just because it was spoken from a place of careful stillness. Stillness generates a void. This is the law of presence. When you do not rush to fill the void, others will. And when they hurry, they expose themselves. They lay bare their intentions, their plan, their weak points. In negotiations, that is priceless. Your adversary, ill at ease with your silence, will continue to talk, and in the process, they will give you precisely the information you require to dictate the result. You won't need to cut them off. You won't need to push them. You just stay calm and allow them to show their own hand. Then there is the psychological ripple effect. People who are addicted to constant validation get unnerved by calmness. When they can't read you, when they can't elicit a reaction from you, they begin to shift themselves to your energy. They move in sync with you without even noticing, and when they begin to move at your pace, you're already in charge. Influence at its most subtle is not force, it's alignment, bending others to your beat without a single explicit command. Influence of this sort isn't loud. It doesn't require public displays of dominance or constant reinforcement of authority. It's done in whispers and silences. It's the way a single look can stop a conversation, the way a single nod can lock in a decision. Stillness grants you the extraordinary ability to cause moments to last, to have people remember you, not for what you have done in haste, but for what you had no need to do in the first place. But with one caveat, this stillness is not passivity. This stillness is not the stillness of not doing anything. This is the stillness of a drawn bow, quiet but full of promise. You are not disconnected. You are connected with precision. You are constantly reading, weighing, assessing. The mask of calm does not mean your mind is idle. It means your mind is free from noise, operating at full clarity. This is why those who master stillness rarely need to fight for position. The room adjusts to them. Decisions tilt in their favor because they are perceived as steady, capable, and grounded. And people naturally trust stability over chaos. When two men talk, the one with fewer words but greater control is the one remembered. During a crisis, the one who keeps calm is the one to follow. The world gravitates towards the figure who is not bothered, because in their calmness lies the promise of guidance. To make stillness powerful, you will need to practice 3 disciplines. Discipline of posture first. Your body communicates before your mouth does. Shoulders square, spine straight, movements deliberate, every gesture measured, never rushed. The man who moves with purpose communicates control without words. Second, discipline of tone. Your voice is the carrier of your authority. A calm, steady tone under pressure makes people lean in rather than push back. Keep it low, keep it clear, keep it deliberate, make them wait for your words. And when you give them definitively. Third, discipline of timing. Don't have the temptation to fill silence. Allow it to work in your favor. In the space between their question and your response, you do more than accumulate facts. You accumulate control. That pause communicates you are not getting drawn into their urgency. You are going according to your agenda. When you've mastered these, something shifts in the dynamic of each interaction. People no longer demand that you try to compete for attention. They start to measure themselves against you. They unwittingly ask themselves if they're keeping pace with you. And when they adapt to you, you've won the subtle game of influence already. Don't forget that influence created on noise is temporary. Influence constructed on stillness is lasting. Noise requires you to repeat it over and over. Stillness is echoed without you having to repeat it. The former exhausts you. The latter renews your place each time you are there. If you can pair stillness with accuracy, you won't have to exert control. It will be assumed. Others will seek your validation, not because you insisted on it, but because your validation now has value. They will hear more into your silences than into other men's words. And when you do decide to speak, they will already be hearing. This is not the play acting at creating a false image. It's the becoming so centered that the image and the reality are the same. When your inner calm equals your outer composure, you cannot be rattled by noise, goaded by impatience, or bullied into someone else's pace. You are no longer one of the players in the turmoil. You are the still point that chaos shatters itself upon. That's the art of making stillness translate to influence. It's the ember burn that endures every flash of fleeting power. And once acquired, it's the quiet drive of your influence in all fields you venture into. Comment below, my calm shapes the outcome. Number 4, the discipline of emotional detachment. Emotional detachment isn't coldness just to be cold. It is clarity that's maintained at any price. It's the capacity to be inside a moment without becoming engulfed by it. The vast majority of people can't detach themselves from their emotions. They allow enthusiasm carry them into error, or they permit frustration confuse their minds. They act first and think second, and decide first before they look at the entire board. Detachment does make a difference. It creates a gap between response and stimulus, a gap where strategy resides. When something provokes you, you don't confront it head-on with raw emotion. You confront it with analysis. You mentally step back, even if only a breath, and you say, what is actually going on here? What's my advantage? What's my next best move? That gap between feeling and action is where control is created. This is not to be averse to feeling. Feelings are cues. They show you opportunities, dangers, and things about yourself. But you listen to them as counselors, not tyrants. You listen to their message, and then you take a decision. Detachment is the ability to let feelings guide you without allowing them to drive you. It works like this in practice, not getting defensive when provoked. When someone provokes you, you don't provoke them, you observe. You allow their energy to unfold because each additional word and movement from them provides you with more information. It appears to be decision-making based on pattern and likelihood, instead of pressure and instinct. It appears to be not allowing praise to make you arrogant or criticism make you reckless. The emotionally detached man can negotiate tougher, lead longer, and last longer because his head is not tugged up and down by the moods of the moment. People catch on to this solidity. They believe in it, they adapt to it, they start to rely on it when things get uncertain. That's when your influence grows. Not because you're attempting to control, but because your stability draws reliance naturally. Detach and you'll see the game more clearly. Detach and you'll notice the move no one else saw because they were too busy feeling. Detach and your calm becomes a lens that cuts through the fog others live in every day. Remember, you are not your feelings. You are the one who decides what those feelings mean. The world will try to pull you into constant reaction. Refuse it. Let your mind be a space where decisions are made out of strength, not out of heat. That is the practice of emotional detachment. And once you've got it down, your calm stops being an act and becomes second nature. Comment below. I choose what moves me. Number 5, the strategic pause. The strategic pause is the tool most people never even think to use, but it's one of the most subtle, most powerful means of taking the power out of your opponent's hands and putting it in your own. Most individuals believe that strength is about continuous action, about responding instantly, about acting quickly. They think speed is control. They are mistaken. The most potent move you may ever make is to wait. The pause is not hesitation. Hesitation springs from doubt. The pause is intentional. The pause is a decision. The pause is like saying, I control when the game advances. You don't. And in that moment of time between their move and your next step, everything shifts. When you pause to speak, you do more than interrupt the rhythm. You own it. Most conversations have an unwritten tempo, a tit-for-tat exchange, where each side feels obligated to react without reflection. By interrupting that chain, you place a pause of quietness where there previously wasn't any. There, in the quietness, you observe the whole exchange in clear vision. And here is a secret. Human beings expose themselves more in quiet than they ever do in words. When you don't fill the space, they will. They will clarify more than they must. Clarify things that didn't require clarifying, and occasionally even contradict themselves. Human consciousness is uncomfortable with the vacuum, so it hastes to fill it, and that haste betrays what they didn't want to reveal. The pause has another consequence. It amplifies your presence. When you reply immediately, even if your response is incisive, it comes across as reactive. But when you give a deliberate pause before you respond, your words carry weight. They no longer have the ring of reflex. They have the ring of judgment. They wear the air of having been weighed. People hear differently when they think that your words have been weighed. In negotiating, the silence can be deadly without ever crossing a boundary. Picture them making you a proposal, anticipating a rapid response. Instead, you remain silent. You regard them quiet and unflappable. The seconds tick. They begin to second-guess whether they've pressed too hard. And before you've uttered a single word, they may backtrack, soften their position, or sugar their offer, all in order to shatter the silence they cannot endure. That is influence without compulsion. The silence also extends to action, not merely words. In a world that celebrates firstness, you will learn to be mindful. When all others are racing to act, with a frenzy to move, you remain stationary. You observe. You let the first wave of movement burn out. You see which strategies fail, which mistakes are made, and which opportunities remain untouched. Then, and only then, you move. And your move lands with precision, because it is informed, not rushed. But understand the pause is not a trick to be used mindlessly. It must fit the moment. Too short and it loses its impact. Too long and it will appear as indecisiveness. In high-pressure situations, even a space of 2 or 3 seconds will seem like forever to the other individual. In slower, agonizing circumstances, you might wait a minute or more before you act or react. The trick is to occupy that space naturally, without telegraphing nervousness or uncertainty. Your body language between spaces is just as important as the space itself. Maintain your posture firm, shoulders back, relaxed face, steady eyes and presence. You are not retreating, you are maintaining the space. The distinction makes all the difference. If your pause is perceived as retreat, it will undermine you. If your pause is understood as control, it will fortify you. With time, others will pick up on it. They will sense the gravity of your pauses. They will attempt to decode them. They will wonder, what is he thinking? What is he waiting for? And here is the Machiavellian beauty. Even when there's no secret meaning, they will still dream one up. That perceived meaning will usually play in your favor. The strategic pause also conditions you. It requires you to fight the attraction of urgency. It teaches you to leave room for yourself in your own mind before deciding. It habituates you to listen more than you talk, to act less, but with more accuracy. And with each judiciously timed pause, you affirm your role as one who acts only on his own terms, not on the insistence of others. Consider history's greatest respected leaders, bargainers, and strategists. They were seldom the quickest speakers in the room. They were the ones who could wait while others panicked, the ones who could maintain silence until it was a weapon, not an accident. They knew that control of pace frequently means control of outcome. In your own life, start small. In talking, when you are asked a question, don't have the urge to respond right away. Breathe. Let them catch you thinking. In making choices, refrain from rushing to act just because others are rushing to act. Let the dust settle before you select your move. In disagreement, when emotions peak, slow everything down. The one in control of the tempo is in control of the direction. And don't forget, the pause is not lack, it is presence condensed. It is a statement in itself. I will not be hurried. I will not be tugged. I go at my own pace. Comment below, I go at my own pace. Number 6. Composure under scrutiny. Real composure isn't established in isolation. Anyone can look serene when nobody's around to observe. The actual test is when the weight of attention rests upon you. When the silence in the room becomes palpable, and all eyes appraise your every step, your every breath, your every utterance. This is the crucible that forges true presence. Observation is a kind of pressure. It doesn't merely challenge your words. It challenges the manner in which you present yourself in moments that are important. It might be the weight of an audience while you present, the silent intensity of a negotiation table, or the piercing stare of an opponent on the other side of a debate. The thread that runs throughout is that you are being judged, even if no one ever tells you so. This pressure tells you a lot about individuals. Some crumble under it. Their speech accelerates. Their breathing changes. Their stance slouches slightly without them noticing. Others compensate, talking too loudly, gesturing too wildly, attempting too hard to seem confident. Both are styles of being overcome by the moment instead of moving the moment yourself. The man who learns composure in the gaze does something else. He approaches attention not as a spotlight that blazes, but as a lens that enlarges. He knows that the same scrutiny that can reveal weakness has the power to make strength larger than life. If you are consistent, if you are purposeful, that consistency becomes larger than life in the minds of those observing. They recall it. They hold it against you. And here's the Machiavellian reality. Perception creates reality. In leadership, in influence, in negotiation, humans tend not to respond to what is actually true, but to what they believe to be true. If you remain unshaken under fire, they start to take it for granted that you are unshaken. And when they do, that assumption alters the way they talk to you, the way they negotiate with you, and even the way they defer to you. In order to project composure under scrutiny, you need to manage the external and the internal. Externally, it starts with posture. Your body communicates before your mouth does. Stand with shoulders unfolded, chest slightly lifted, and feet planted. Movements ought to be economical, not stiff but deliberate. Don't fidget, tap, or shift unnecessarily. Each additional movement weakens the perception of control. Rather, let every gesture be intentional, every turn of the head thought out, every change in stance a decision. And then there is the face. Your expression must be relaxed but attentive, not vacant. That can come across as detached or bored, but not in an upward spiral. A slight constricting of the eyes to indicate concentration. An unstrained mouth. This isn't about serious all the time, but about having a default control from which any shift in expression is intentional. Your voice is equally important. Under scrutiny, others automatically monitor your tone and rhythm for evidence of instability. Keep your tone even, never hasty. Employ pauses as if you're the master of the timing of the conversation. Speak loud enough to be comfortably heard, but never strained. That equilibrium speaks with confidence without aggression. The actual work internally is keeping your head from going into self-consciousness. The reason why most people fall apart under scrutiny is not that they don't know what they are doing or saying, it's because they begin considering how they appear, say, or do it. That divided attention weakens their delivery, thins their presence. You need to do the reverse. When being watched, concentrate solely on the task, the conversation, or the negotiation in front of you. Pay attention to the content, not the show. Ironically, such intense concentration on reality and not on image produces the most powerful image of all. Because nothing is more collected than someone completely living in the now, unbothered by the fact that everyone else can see you. There is also an unobtrusive benefit to contained composure. It shatters expectations. Most people anticipate indications of stress under pressure. When they do not see those indicators in you, it creates confusion in them. They start wondering if you have knowledge that they do not. This change puts doubt in their own assurance and reinforces yours through contrast. Observation exaggerates small things. A tiny crack in tone can sound bigger. A fleeting nervous gesture can appear amplified. Conversely, however, it can work in reverse. A moment of steady concentration can appear like iron willpower, and a calculated breath can feel like rock-solid command. This is why training composure under observation is worth its weight many times over in the moment itself. Practice in low-stakes contexts. In group discussions, slow yourself down a notch. Make eye contact naturally, not as a test, but as a signal of being present. Make your gestures intentional, not repetitive. If asked a question by someone, pause before responding. Not so long it becomes uncomfortable, but long enough to show you're reflecting on your answer. This will change the way people react to you over time. They'll no longer anticipate instant, reactive responses from you and begin to anticipate thoughtful ones. They'll observe you not reacting to being in the spotlight, and they'll read that as confidence. Even though you may still be developing it inside, this image becomes self-fulfilling. The more they see you as composed, the more composed you feel, and the cycle builds. Composure under observation is not about being emotionless. It's about not letting your emotions be dictated by the awareness of being seen. You can be passionate, intense, even humorous, but it's always on your terms, never as an involuntary reaction to the crowd or the gaze of a single individual. The essential change is this: ditch the judging mindset around observation. Ponder it as a possibility. Each time you are observed is a moment to solidify your stability, to demonstrate that you navigate pressure just as you navigate calmness, with poise. This mental change takes the terror of being in the spotlight and exchanges it for intention. Ultimately, composure in the spotlight is not simply about making it through the moment. It's about embracing it so completely that you create the tone of the room. Your calm is the subtle anchor the rest of the room orients itself to. And as soon as they start to seek you out for that anchor, you've achieved influence without having ever requested it. Recall, the gaze upon you is not something to be feared. They are a multiplier. Ensure what they multiply is the picture of a man who cannot be rattled, cannot be shook, and cannot be derailed from his center. Comment below. My calm is unshakable. Number 7. The skill of controlled expression. Power is not in revealing nothing. Power is in revealing only what you desire. Controlled expression is not in bricking up your face or concealing all your emotions. It's about making minute-by-minute choices about exactly what your face, your voice, and your body are saying. Most people are ruled by their emotions. They allow their faces to speak their secrets before their words have a chance. You won't. You'll make your choices as a general makes his strategies, with intent, purpose, and a definite result in mind. Here's the way it is. Humans are constantly reading each other's faces. It's survival wiring from antiquity. We see a flicker of the eye, a clench of the jaw, a shift in tone in fractions of a second. Most of this scanning is done automatically, yet it determines what people feel about you in an instant. What that means is you're always transmitting something, whether you want to or not. Controlled expression guarantees that what you transmit is on purpose. Let's begin with the face. Imagine it to be the context in which all your words and deeds will be interpreted. Make it loose but vigilant. A stiff stone-like expression conveys defensiveness or aloofness. A changeable face reads as a lack of stability. You need a stable baseline, an unruffled, interested expression that feels stable. This baseline is your anchor point. From it, any movement becomes evident, and thus forceful. If you do choose to smile, it's because it feels appropriate to the moment. If you frown, it's because you're trying to make it stick as a signal. In managed expression, all shifts are conscious. Eyes are your most powerful nonverbal tool. Eyes are the first thing people look at when they wish to determine if what you're saying is meant. Make steady, natural eye contact when you're trying to convey presence. Don't glare in hostility, but relax your gaze. Intentionally break eye contact if you need to regulate the timing or renormalize the tone. Allow your eyes to linger a bit longer on points you wish to label as important. This informs the other individual that you've bookmarked their words, their action, or their standing for extra attention. Refrain from rapidly shifting your eyes from side to side in a high-risk context. It conveys insecurity or uncertainty. Second, the voice. Controlled presentation is not just visual. It exists in the tone of your voice. Maintain an even-toned calmness, clarity, and lack of hurry. Let strength come from accuracy, not loudness. Edge up your tone when you need to add energy or sense of urgency, and dip it when you need to demand attention. Speak at your own pace, not according to the other guy's rhythm. And don't forget this: pauses between sentences can be as effective as sentences themselves. A pause after an important statement isn't just allowing other people time to absorb, it's compelling them to. The body paints the picture. Economical movements, restlessness gestures, tapping, fidgeting, excessive hand use. Let your movements punctuate your words rather than carry them. This has two effects. It keeps you from telegraphing nervousness, and it makes each movement you make more meaningful. If you lean forward, it signifies something. If you take a step back, it signifies something. The less movement you do that is not absolutely necessary, the more purposeful the movement you need to make becomes. Controlled expression is not about becoming a robot. It is about having range, but applying the range with control. You can laugh, you can be concerned, you can be intense, but you are doing it because it advances your purpose and not because the moment compelled it out of you. This establishes a formidable form of unpredictability. Other people can't read you unless you let them, and when they can't read you, they move carefully. They doubt their own strategy. They attempt to anticipate you, and in attempting, they slow down, putting the pace in your hands. The deeper benefit is psychological. If people can't predict how you'll respond, they become more tentative with their words. They reveal less spontaneously. They catch themselves before they go too far. They begin unwittingly matching your level of control. In the process, they've already changed into your frame, and once they're within your frame, you're in charge of the dynamic. Practicing this skill begins with awareness. In low-stakes situations, observe your facial muscles, breathing, and posture. Pay attention to what shifts when you sense being challenged or excited. Do your eyebrows rise? Does your speech accelerate? Does your head lean in a way that betrays doubt? After you notice these patterns, you can start substituting them with conscious choices. From there, practice conscious shifts. If you tend to respond to something unexpected with wide eyes or a sudden laugh, experiment with responding instead with a steady stare and a slight controlled smile. If you tend to frown right away at something you disapprove of, experiment with waiting to see if holding a neutral face until you choose whether displaying disapproval is advantageous. As time goes on, you'll be able to change expression, not in response to other people, but so as to influence them. Picture a negotiation in which you have been holding your tongue for a second. They extend an offer. Rather than flying off the handle and responding, you allow the silence to hang, then slowly create a faint smile. Not approval, not scorn, but ambiguity. That one action can make them wonder if they've crossed the line, or if they've simply opened a door you can walk through. Or imagine an intense confrontation, where your adversary is counting on you to blow up. But instead, you maintain a cool face, steady eyes, and even voice. Their plan is no longer aimed, and they have to rethink. These aren't mistakes, they're micro-strategies that make your own presence a controlled vehicle. The ultimate controlled expression is when your outer signals align with your inner strategy. You're relaxed because you've conditioned yourself to be relaxed. You're projecting confidence because you've put in the effort to be confident. Now there's no discrepancy between the man you are and the man they see. And that's when you are untouchable in both perception and reality. Controlled expression is underhanded. It will seldom bring explicit praise or acknowledgement. Others may not even subconsciously register what you are doing, but they will sense it. They will retain that you never blanched, that your smile came at precisely the moment it counted, that your tone never wavered, and they will take those impressions with them through all subsequent interactions with you. That is the subtle language of command. You're not merely communicating through your words. You're communicating through the management of every visible and audible cue you project. And the more you master the selection of those signs, the more the world will react back to you, with the respect it automatically gives to those who learn to master themselves first. Share your thoughts in the comments below. I select what they see. Number 8. The calm that commands respect. There is polite calm, and there is commanding calm. The first receives a nod, the second gets quiet from the room. You are not here to create a nice quiet, you are here to create the kind that is earned without so much as asking for it. Respect founded on noise evaporates when the noise disappears. Respect founded on fear crumbles when the fear disappears. But respect founded on an immovable center, the quiet that does not yield to pressure, becomes a norm. Others don't have to like you, others don't have to agree with you, but they will know that you remain steadfast in a manner in which most are not capable. This quiet is not passive. This quiet does not run. This quiet is active presence. This quiet indicates that whether you're in the midst of chaos or in the center of a quiet choice, your breathing, your tone, and your movements are in your control. You are not untouched because nothing occurs to you. You are untouched because regardless of what occurs, you do not change. The respect that this brings is different from admiration. Admiration can be bestowed rather easily, often on the grounds of talent, charm, or even fortune. Respect for composure is more difficult to achieve. It can only be gained after people have seen you through moments that would shatter others and remain unshaken. It is constructed during times when others are looking for you to panic, snap, and cave, but you don't. There is an underlying impact too. Your calm catches on. Under pressure, individuals naturally crave stability. And if you can keep your cool when others are losing their grip, they will start to replicate your calmness. Even people who are higher than you in status will unwittingly learn from you. That is how calm becomes a leadership quality of quiet. This type of calm doesn't declare itself. It doesn't have to. It operates in the subtle things. In the manner in which you answer slower than they anticipated. In the manner in which your tone remains firm, whereas theirs intensifies. In the manner in which your posture remains solid when theirs changes. These facts pile up over the years, and collectively create the picture of someone who does not shatter. But don't get it twisted. Calm like this takes discipline. You can't simulate it for long. You can pretend to be calm for a few moments, perhaps even an hour. But calm that lasts is only formed by habit. It is formed by day-to-day training, maintaining control over your pace when you feel like rushing, lowering your tone when you want to raise it, sitting still when you want to move. Over time, this becomes who you are, not just what you perform. You begin to notice the change in yourself. First, things that once irritated you no longer move you so easily. Situations that once made you hurry now feel like they slow down in your presence. That's the mark of progress. Not that nothing occurs, but that anything that occurs no longer determines who you are in the moment. To extend this piece in a manner that inspires respect, you need to align your inner state with your outer presence. You can't talk about steadiness when your mind is racing, or try to appear unruffled while your hands give you away. Authentic respect emerges when the outside and inside align, and when that match is genuine, people sense it at once. They sense that they are not dealing with a performance. In real life, this peace of mind alters the way you are treated. People hesitate to cut across you. They don't talk over you. They weigh their words more carefully in your company. They cease to anticipate quick responses from you, and begin to anticipate thoughtful ones. And that alone puts you in a position of power. The composure that instills respect is also your shield against provocation. When someone is attempting to provoke you into losing control, they're hoping for a response. They want to drag you into their framework. By not giving it to them, you not only win the conversation, you sabotage their entire plan. And nothing annoys an adversary more than no means by which they can pull you off center. The impact of this serenity becomes greater the longer it goes on. Initially, it just makes individuals curious. They observe that you do not respond like everyone else. They may even try and provoke you to see if you'll snap. When you don't, curiosity builds to recognition. Recognition builds to respect, and respect builds to dependence. Reliance is the ultimate level of influence calm can provide. After individuals start perceiving you as a permanent entity, the one to turn to when things are confusing, they inadvertently position you at the core of their own decision-making process. Even if you're not the most vocal person, your presence becomes part of the equation. This is when you become the anchor, and being the anchor shifts the paradigm. Anchors don't pursue ships. Ships adapt to the anchor. Similarly, you cease pursuing influence, it finds you. People ask for your opinion, not because you insist on it, but because your stability has invested it with worth. They want to hear what you have to say, because they know you will not be forced by the moment. This piece isn't about going slow, it's about going on purpose. It's about communicating to people without saying it, that nothing is going to control your tempo but you. And when they understand that, they start to conform to you. They slow down their pace. When you slow down, people talk more carefully. When you talk more carefully, without compulsion, without command, you set the whole climate. The calm that elicits respect is not common, in that it takes two things most do not want: patience and consistency. Patience to allow the moment to come to you, rather than grabbing for it, and consistency to live this way in small matters and in big ones. If you maintain your calm only when it is easy, then you will not maintain it when it's hard. It's also uncommon because it makes you comfortable with silence. Quiet leaders don't fear letting the air hang. They understand that quiet isn't emptiness. It is presence that fills the room without dominating it. The more you practice getting comfortable with these silences, the more others will seek you in them. Ultimately, the piece that commands respect isn't about image, it's about nature. It's not something you pose, it's the man you've become. It's a type of power that is quiet, but not to be denied, subtle but unshakable. You don't have to proclaim it. Those who've seen it won't forget it. And here's the last truth. When respect is born of this sort of calm, it doesn't dissipate when you step out of the room. It lingers. People speak about it. They hold others up against it. And they begin, often unknowingly, to start modifying themselves to the measure you set. That is the calm you are creating. One which not only keeps you grounded, but redefines the space around you. Comment below, my calm is my authority. Number 9, the untouchable mind. The greatest kind of power is not wealth, not connections, not even brawn. The greatest kind of power is an untouchable mind, a mind that cannot be broken by pressure, bought with flattery, or provoked by provocation. All the lessons so far have been leading up to this. Stillness, control, detachment, calmness, all lead here. An untouchable mind is not vacant. It is full, but full with the proper things. It contains clarity where others contain confusion. It contains patience where others contain panic. It contains strategy where others contain reaction. It doesn't close itself off from the world. It screens it. It absorbs what is helpful, rejects what isn't, and stands firm against the din in between. This mind is constructed on discipline, the discipline to become skilled at emotional reflexes, so that you act, not react. The discipline to keep the mask of calm on your face until it is no longer a mask, but your own face. The discipline to use stillness as a weapon, to make silence serve you while others struggle to fill it. The discipline to be detached, to watch the game without becoming devoured by it. It's also founded in awareness, knowledge of your own triggers so no one else can use them against you. Knowledge of the speed of a room so you can dictate it instead of running after it. Knowledge of your own expression so every signal you send is deliberate. Knowledge of the weight your calm holds so you can leverage it without wasting it. When your mind gets untouchable, you cease to fear what other people think of you. Not because you're arrogant, but because you understand your value isn't based on what they think. You cease dashing to prove yourself. Not because you're lazy, but because you understand the proof is in your consistency. You cease responding to bait, not because you can't fight back, but because you understand when to hold and when to move. This amount of control changes everything. They begin to feel that they can't push your buttons like they push others. They desist from pushing your buttons because they understand you choose when and whether to respond. They come to you in a different manner. They talk to you differently. They gauge their words since they understand you're gauging theirs. And here is the subtle truth. An untouchable mind is magnetic. Those who feel insecure desire to be close to it. Those who are in a state of perpetual reactivity seek to learn from it. Those who believe they can destroy it squander themselves attempting to do so. But it's not invincibility, it's unshakability. Invincibility would mean nothing is able to hurt you. Unshakability means even when something does, you are still in control of yourself. You don't require the world to be peaceful for you to remain peaceful. You don't require others to be courteous for you to be courteous. You don't require things to be perfect for you to be accurate. That is why the untouchable mind is the final form of power, because it doesn't depend on the world yet, can transform it. And now I'm going to leave you with that. Power starts with the mind, but it's manifested in how you inhabit the world. If you take each of the principles we have constructed here, the cold law of serenity, mastery of emotional reflexes, mask of serenity, power of stillness, discipline of detachment, strategic pause, steadiness under scrutiny, art of disciplined expression, calm that commands respect, and you practice them until they are second nature, then nothing outside can dislodge your center. The battlefield will shift, people will pass through, difficulties will change form, but your thoughts will be yours. Leave a comment below. I am invincible. And if you like more of this, more tips on how to master yourself and create the world around you, be sure to like this video, subscribe to Sarum, and enable notifications so you never miss what comes next.